Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the British Tier 10 heavy tank, the FV215b. Now this is, well, a pretty damn good British heavy tank because, well, there's three. You always know there's three. Tech tree ones anyway, you've got the Valor as well. But you've got the FV215b, the Super Conqueror and the Chieftain. The Chieftain, since it got buffed, is personally for me, but I'd say that's probably personal preference. I think the Chieftain's the best one out of the three now, after it got buffed, because it got the speed, the incredible DPM, the incredible gun, the great turret armour. You know, it's just a solid all-round tank. It's absolutely fantastic. The Super Conqueror has always been incredible. It's just a bit boring, to be perfectly honest, because it's just slow. And it just does what it does. It goes hull down and it farms, and it laughs at people just doing that, pretty much. And the FV215b, for the longest time, was the worst of the three. But then it got buffed, which I actually have a video from a wee while ago when it got buffed, telling you about everything that got buffed. And, yeah, the tank became very, very good. Very good. Because it got some extra side armour that helps it with its side scraping. Although they didn't get rid of the weak spot in the little cheeks under the turret, which means that the still gets caught by shots when you are side scraping, which can be really, really frustrating for this tank, and is definitely really annoying. But they also made the gun better, and they made the DPM better. They made it absolutely insane. So this thing reloads really quickly, it's got a really snappy gun, it's really accurate, it's just utterly fantastic. I'd say that the mobility's not too bad, and yeah, you've got a pretty damn solid all-round tank that if you catch people out, they're just not going to have a good time because this gun is absolutely incredible. And yeah, the FV215b is definitely a lot more fun these days. So in terms of a crew on the FV215b, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Trap Mechanics, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Situational Awareness, Firefighting and Off-Road Driving. Off-road driving to be able to help me get to my top speed and, you know, negate the effects of the ground resistances on the tank. Firefighting because if I get set on fire, which happens a lot in the FV215b, I want to be able to put it out just that little bit quicker. Because getting set on fire, trust me, getting set on fire happens a lot in this tank. And if you're going to be running fire prevention, which reduces the chance of getting set on fire by 33%, trust me, it really doesn't help. I used to run that perk on this tank because I thought, oh, you know what, maybe it'll stop me getting set on fire. No, I get set on fire all the time still in this tank anyway. So you're best just to run firefighting and make sure that if you are going to get set on fire, it puts it out quicker, so you don't have to suffer for as long, really, pretty much. In terms of equipment, I run rammer, traction system, and optics. I run optics because I want to be able to spot for myself and make sure that, like in this situation we're facing right here on Malinovka, that we can be able to spot the people that are on the hill that are firing at us, unless they're too far away still. But, you know, just making the most of the view range. We don't want to have to rely on anyone else to spot for us. That's why I do it, essentially. But, I mean, you could run vents or lots of other things if you wanted to. Traction systems get me up to 38 kilometers an hour, just help with that speed. And that's where the off-road driving comes in, because then that, you know, makes it sure that I can get up to that top speed a little bit easier, 38 kilometers an hour. And then rammer to make this DPM that it's got just absolutely incredible. And it's already incredible without it. Now, you might be thinking, well, you're not running vert stabs or you're not running snapshot or something like that. Well, this gun is just absolutely fabulous. You don't even need to think about running vert stabs. You don't need to think about running snapshot because this gun just behaves so well. The steady aim is fantastic, and the run and gun is also makes it so that you can hit those shots on the move quite nicely. So on the whole, all the buffs that they brought out for the FV215b, along with the crew system and stuff like that, which made this tank so good, and in, you know, really a lot of fun to play generally, because you just out DPM so many things. If you get into a position to farm, this tank will oblige so much. It will just happily farm away. The extra armor that they gave to the hull side as well definitely helps, because before, what was annoying, obviously this is a back-mounted turret on a tank, and you think, well, naturally it's going to side scrape pretty decently. And you'd side scrape with it and it just wouldn't bounce anything because it just get penned all the time because the side armour wasn't quite good enough and it had the turret cheek, well, the cheek problems on the side of the hull, which just made it really easy to pen, which was just as annoying. And it kind of just negated all of that generally. Add to that the fact that this thing sets on fire a lot. It was just a bit of a problem for the tank generally. And I will say, it does set on fire a lot. So you have to be prepared for that when you play this tank. So on this game on Malinovka, we've managed to get 4.1k assistance so far and 5k damage. We realised that they were going to take the hill quite aggressively, right? Or not aggressively, but they were going to take the hill quite comprehensively. We had two guys. There was me and the griller, and that was it. That had gone towards the hill. So there was no point pushing up onto it. We recognised that and decided, you know what, okay, we're not going to push up onto the hill because otherwise that's just going to be death. We stayed back at the rock at E0 and we farmed their team as they tried to be aggressive on it as much as possible. Because that's the best thing to do. If there's only like one or two of you going to the hill, sit back, wait for the enemy team and see what happens and see what they do, see how they push. Therefore, you know, you're not going to die and you'll be able to get quite a bit of damage off. And you might be able to hold them off until your team deals with them elsewhere, which is what happened in this game. My team managed to go down the 1-2 and deal with the enemy team on there, and yeah, it ended well. So we end up getting a few damaging shots on the mouse, which puts us up to nearly 6k damage. And then we find the 261, who is on the hill. And unfortunately, we don't quite get the shot to finish him off. But we do finish the game with 6.5k damage. I mean, that was 10.5k combined, which is nice. We finished with the victory. 5 kills, 6.5k damage, 4.1k assistance, ace tanker, high caliber, sniper medal, and 1898 base XP. A nice game for the FV215b. I say the tank's definitely pretty fun to play now, and it still baffles me that they actually buffed the DPM on this tank, because like the Chieftain, like the Super Conqueror, the DPM was always incredible anyway. It was one of the best you had in the game, right, for a heavy tank. And this 120mm gun is just sexy. It hits every shot it wants to, and having the reload at 6.3 seconds is incredible. And obviously, if you boost with food, you get that down to like 6.1, 6.2, which is also great. So we're on to the second game. On the second game, we're on Deadler Pass, and it's like, right, okay, where do I want to go? I'm going to go to H8 and just do the heavy tank thing. Well, try and get to H8 anyway. Try and do the heavy tank thing and brawl on this little corner over here, because I'm not really a fan of going up the 2-3 in a heavy tank, because a lot of it will be getting out spotted and then getting fired at and farmed from the TD positions at C7 and 8. If you're in something like a medium tank or a light tank, you can quite easily outmaneuver that. You can stay a bit more hidden with your camo. You can also push to more aggressive positions very quickly, whereas obviously in the FV215b, you might not be able to do that well. It is what it is. So we're going to try and push this way. Like, there's not actually many heavy tanks at all. They've got 2, we've got 2. So it's like, you know what? We might not face too much around here. We might be able to push around and get towards their base. So as you're pushing up, obviously we can see there's 2 light tanks. One just got shut down, the Vanguard. It's always good that the Pest to get shut down straight away. And then there's the LTTB. Nothing else has been spotted yet. And it's like, right, okay, what's going to happen here? Because it's one of those things, you never know how the enemy team is going to form out. And when you're at this point and still nothing's been spotted, it's like, okay, have I picked the right way? But as we're coming up alongside it, the UDES 1516 gets spotted. Then there's the M103 at the back. So what we're going to do is we're just going to duck in to this little rock here so I can side scrape off of it. And we get a nice shot into the UDES 1516. Then the M103 pushes across, and I'm just hoping I hit his drive wheel and track him. But we only do a Amarak damage, hoping to get another shot in before he gets behind cover, which we do. Again, we waited for the back end to come out a little bit there just so we could hopefully track it. But unfortunately, we don't get a shot in there to track him, but we do manage to damage him again. But now that M103 and UDES is across, it's like, right, okay, I'm going to deal with this T30. T30 is obviously a very dangerous tank to face because it's going to pen you for a lot. And it's a big caliber. And it sets us on fire. There we go, the FV215b on fire yet again. It's what happens. Bit of a silly push on that T30, but it is what it is. Now we managed to get this shot into the UDES 1516 and pen him after the first shot tracked him. We just ricochet there off his upper plate, which is really unfortunate. Can happen with UDES 1516. We've got to make sure we hit that lower plate. And this time it goes in and shuts him down. The T-30 is a danger. He just fires and it's like, well, okay, you know what? I'm going to go around and use my DPM. We get a shot into his upper plate there and it's like, right, okay, that M46 misses. I've got better DPM than you, Mr. T-30. That was for setting me on fire. Goodbye, sir. The M46 pattern's getting a bit ballsy because he knows that we'd fired. But he misses. We're ready to fire again. Pop another shot in. Just looking at coming round on this E75, we get a nice shot into his side. Damages ammo rack again. We're damaging people's ammo racks everywhere. And I decide, you know what? I'm going to push into the T30 now and side scrape off this T30. We get a nice shot into the M46 pattern. That E75 is actually stock, or he's not quite stock. He's using the Tiger 2's gun, which is stock pretty much. But he starts getting farmed. I'm like, you know, okay, I'm going to track you, Mr. E75, get some assistance on you, put a shot into your lower plate, and he gets finished off. There's still that TD over there, but we realise one thing. While we could go for the T30, the base is being assaulted down the 2 line, and they are probably going to our cap in a second. We don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go head back. We're going to be trying, you know, we're the first to react to it. You see, the whole team went out straight after the T30 and went to shut him down. We really need to get back, though, because if they get 3 people on the cap, well, it's just game over. It's not going to end very well. There's no point going to their cap to try and cap because we're never going to reach it before, well, before they reach ours, right? So we're just going to keep powering ahead. You see, we've got like 40 seconds. And I'm looking at this going, I probably will get back to get a reset, but we do have the light tank at F2. He might be able to get there to get a reset. There is the T62A that's currently going towards that light tank. I have to ignore that threat because we just got to keep going. We just got to keep getting back to the cap. There's no point stopping. We just need to get back there to reset. I mean, we're on 4.3k damage so far with 1600 resistance, which is a nice game. We're going to pop a shot at the T62A on the move. Like I said, I could stop and aim, but you know what? I'm not going to stop and aim. Again, we need to keep going. The Scent Axe gets spotted on my right. I pop a shot into his upper plate, but again, while I could shut down that Scent Axe, I just need to sort of keep resets on the cap while they're out in the open. So we get a shot into the other Scent Axe, reset the cap. It's now back. Someone else gets another reset, so we shut down the Scent Axe. We change our priorities and get rid of that guy. Now there's a Tusk YOLOing forward, and it's like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to get a shot into the Tusk. I could shoot the Scent Axe, or I could shoot the other medium tank, but to be honest, if that Tusk decides to YOLO me and get a shot into the back of us, it's not going to go very well, because obviously he can pen us and do like 900 damage. We don't want that. Their bat chat shuts down our standard B, but we do manage to get the shot to shut down the bat chat into his turret there. And just as I was about to turn and start facing the Scent Axe, the Tusk comes up behind it. It's like, no, Mr. Tusk. No. We're not having that. We shut down the Tusk. Now the Centurion Action 10's there. We shut down the Centurion Action 10. And there's 1 tank left on the enemy team. It's a tank destroyer, and it's over at C7, who is, I believe, going after our guy in the cap, possibly. That's what I assume he's doing anyway. So we end up with 6.8k damage after that little foray to defend our cap and 1600 assistance, which is a really nice game for the FV215b. And like I said, this tank is utterly solid. After its buffs, it's really nice. The only thing that I'd still say it needs is the turret cheeks, or the little cheeks under the turret being buffed so that they're impenetrable, and then it would be a side-scraping god. But we finished that game with 6 kills, 6.8k damage, the ace tanker, the sniper, high caliber, the top gun, 1798 base XP. Really nice game for the FV215b, a really, really solid tank. Can be a lot of fun to play, and it's definitely a choice to pick up alongside the other 3, or should I say the other 2 tech tree heavy tanks on the British side. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.